When they slaughtered Congress, we didn't wake up. When they blamed terrorists and suspended the Constitution, we didn't wake up then either. They said it would be temporary. Nothing changes instantaneously. In a gradually heated bathtub, you can boil to death.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey ladies, welcome back to Somebody Come Listen to This podcast. I am your host Nava. Once again, if you're new here, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. And let's talk about this, ladies. Let's talk about another reason that men are giving women to not get married to them. As if we needed more. This new president is giving women all the reasons that we should not get married and we should not have kids. They are now in the process of passing a bill that will not allow women to vote. If you have changed your name or anything like that because you got married, if your name isn't the same name you had when you were born, they're trying to make it harder for you to vote. They're trying to say that they only want one person in the house to vote if you're married, and that is your husband. His opinion is the only one that will matter if you get married and you change your name. So I suggest, ladies, that if you are married and you want to vote, you might need to start working on getting your name changed back to your maiden name, or you should think about not getting married at all, because they really are trying to make you property again to your husband. They are really trying to trap women in so many ways. Women's no idea about all of the laws that they are passing to oppress women. Y'all, let's get into it and see what Trump and President Elon are up to now.
TikTok is probably going to suppress this video, but I'm going to try anyways. Women, this message is for you. The United States House of Representatives it's already passed the House. It's called the SAVE Act, and it requires you to vote in person and provide an ID that matches your birth certificate, and you have to bring both to vote, or a passport. But the majority of people in this country do not have a passport. So if you have gotten married and your ID does not match your birth certificate, you will not be able to vote. It's very important that you get a passport now if you can. It's going into the Senate. If it's already passed the House, you know it's going to pass the Senate. Okay, so this is very serious. It's also going to require for you to vote in person. So people that are experiencing disabilities, people that don't have money for a vehicle, that can't travel to voting sites, elderly, it's going to restrict a lot of people's ability to vote. Please read up on it. It's very, very important. I don't honestly know what we can do about it except for try to spread awareness and call your senators. Call your senators and say hell no to this bill. Okay? Love you, Slayers.
What if I told you that simply changing your last name after marriage could put your right to vote at risk? That's exactly what could happen under the new SAVE Act, H.R. 22. This bill claims to be about election security, but in reality, it creates unnecessary hurdles that could disenfranchise millions of eligible voters, especially married women, working class citizens, and communities of color. Here's how it works. The SAVE Act would require proof of citizenship every single time someone registers to vote or updates their registration. But for millions of married women, like myself, who take their spouse's last name, their birth certificate no longer matches their legal name. So now, in addition to a birth certificate, they might also need a marriage certificate, a court order, or even multiple forms of ID just to prove they are who they say they are. How many people carry around all these documents just to exercise a constitutional right? And let's talk about accessibility. Not everyone has a passport. And replacing lost documents isn't cheap or easy. Some states charge up to $50 for a birth certificate replacement and even more for legal name change records. This puts an unfair burden on working class Americans, single parents, and elderly voters who may struggle to track down or afford the necessary paperwork. And for women who have been married more than once, the process becomes even more complicated. This is not about protecting elections. It's about making it harder to vote. The Brennan Center for Justice calls this bill one of the most restrictive voting proposals in recent history because it disproportionately impacts women, low-income Americans, and people who may not have easy access to their citizenship documents. It's voter suppression, disguised as election security. So let's be real. Should changing your last name, losing a document, or not having a passport stop you from voting? Or is this just another way to make it harder for certain people to cast a ballot?
Wait a sec. This SAVE Act thing means married women might not be able to vote because their last name doesn't match their birth certificate? Bingo, genius. Unless they got a passport or a stack of paperwork, they're out of luck. But that's a lot of women. Most take their husband's name. About 84% do. And of them, close to 40% more conservative women do compared to liberal women. So more left-leaning women keep their original names? Yep. The Party of Family Values just made it harder for wives and moms in their own base to vote. Wait, so he's shooting himself in the foot with this? Yeah, pretty much. He's making it harder for his supporters to vote. That don't make any sense. Welcome to Trumpism, where logic takes a back seat. That don't sit right. Ain't voting supposed to be easy for Americans? Not if they think you might vote against them. The harder it is, the fewer people show up. And guess who benefits? But Trump's the one pushing this. He's always talking about protecting women. Sure, protecting them from democracy. Maybe next he'll make women get permission from their husbands before they can vote. Now hold on, that sounds downright un-American. So does this law, but here we are. You still flying that Trump flag, or are we finally seeing some daylight? I might need to take a walk. Take your wife with you. Soon she might not be allowed out by herself.
So they're trying to take away married women's right to vote? It's not funny. It's not funny. I'm laughing to stop from crying because it doesn't just affect married women. It affects anyone who has ever changed their name. So if your name on your driver's license does not match the name on your birth certificate, then you do not have the right to vote. So what they're trying to say is they're trying to make it so that a household gets one vote. So if you change your last name to match your husband's name, that name will no longer match your birth certificate. So now you and your husband just get one vote, right? You know how many married women there are in this country, or people who were married and never went back to their maiden names. And people are saying, oh, it hasn't passed. It's only been introduced, and it's been introduced multiple times. Like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They said that about Roe v. Wade being overturned. They said that about Roe v. Wade being overturned. And look at a lot of things that's happened in history. And as they were happening, people were like, that's not going to happen. Like, you guys are panicking for no reason. That's never going to happen. These things happen because people always say it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Someone is trying to introduce it. People said the junk drawer would not be confirmed. And the junk drawer has been confirmed, guys. They are trying to, one at a time. Oh, you don't need that, right? Oh, why do you and your husband need to vote separately? Oh, you changed your name because you are transgender, so your name no longer matches your birth certificate. It's not just married women. Trans people also change their names, their dead names, right? So if the name on your driver's license does not match the name on your birth certificate, you don't get to vote. Relocation is not that hard. Just FYI.
Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act. Okay, that's what I made my last video about, warning women, don't change your name, get all your shit together, get it in order. I want to go over some things with you. The SAVE Act mandates that individuals provide documentary proof of U.S. citizenship. Okay, so this is supposed to help, weed out citizens or non-citizens, right? So while the act does not explicitly list acceptable documents, okay, so this is why everyone is a little bit alarmed and throwing up these alarm bells, because it doesn't exactly say what documents are acceptable. It implies that only documents directly evidencing citizenship, such as a U.S. passport or birth certificate, would be accepted. It then goes on to say a real ID compliant driver's license or identification card, as defined by the Department of Homeland Security, serves as proof of identity and lawful status, but does not confirm citizenship status. Okay, so that's what this whole thing is about. It's really wanting every single individual to confirm their citizenship status. Okay, just stick with me here. Therefore, under the SAVE Act, a real ID would not suffice as proof of citizenship for voter registration purposes. This requirement could pose challenges for individuals who do not possess a passport or readily accessible birth certificate, potentially affecting their ability to register to vote. And they're also saying that when you need to register to vote, you are going to have to register to vote in person now. You can't just do it through the mail like we've always done, because they want you to show your proof of citizenship. Okay, so this is why I am saying the real ID will not just suffice. You will have to have supporting documents when you go to these appointments to get your voter registration. That's why I'm saying, women, make sure that you have a passport that is current and has your name. Make sure that you have all of your documents if you are married and have your husband's last name. They are going to want divorce decrees if you've changed your last name. They are going to want marriage licenses if you've changed your last name that way. And if you only have a real ID, well, I guess you're out of luck, right? So that's why I'm saying, women, no one is raising the alarm bells and educating, right? I made that video and have now had to look at it and really think about how this could impact women. If women don't have passports, guess what? What are you going to do? You're going to need your birth certificate, right? So go get your passports. I know it's money. Save up money. Go get your passports. I was simply saying, for women who are about to get married, just don't change your name. That way you can get your passport and your ID matches and your birth certificate. They're all the same. That's all I was saying. We need to stay ahead of this, y'all, because in the Project 2025, that's further down the road. If this shit passes and it keeps passing, their end goal, if the trend continues, we could see future policies where voting rights are tied to household heads, okay? Effectively making men the primary or sole voters in a family. This would be a chilling return to the days before women's suffrage and a step toward eroding the autonomy of women in civic life. This is why all of us women are sounding the alarms, because we all tried to sound the alarms before the November election, right? That Project 2025 could become a real thing. As we get closer, we are going to have to be very, very careful and have all of our documents and make sure all of our things are lined up so that our voting rights aren't stripped from us. That is why everyone is so freaked out right now. But yes, we do need to educate each other and make sure we are reading the acts that are trying to be passed. Okay. Now, as of February 11th, 2025, the SAVE Act has not been passed by the Senate. Okay. It was reintroduced to the House of Representatives in early 2025 and is currently under consideration. Okay. While it's been identified as a priority by House Republicans, it has not yet advanced a Senate vote. This is why we are saying, call your representatives. Get on the 5 Calls app and call every single day. It is so important. We do not want this to pass because then it makes harder for the 2025 agenda to play out. We have got to get these things stopped. Just that's the only reason all of us women are so amped up and worked up about it. Now, while my last video may not have been exactly right, I wanted to clarify and come in with this video and let you know what actually is happening. So your real ID will not just suffice for you to vote. You will have to go register in person. You will have to have all of your documents. If you have a passport that matches that real ID, last name, you will be able to vote, but you have to go register in person to vote now. There's just so many little things, and I think it's all going under the radar because we don't see all of these bills. They just get passed and we have no clue. And then, you know, social media is like a wildfire. We all start talking and hearing bits and pieces and then carry it on. So hopefully, I hope this has cleared some of that up for y'all. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Please, let's get this out there, the correct information.
The irony of the SAFE Act is that it is going to punish married women who complied with the patriarchal tradition of changing their last name. Because let's be clear, there is no tangible benefit for making that name change. You do not get a tax break or extra money in your bank account. At one point in time, women did not have rights and they needed to change their last names in order to represent that they were a property of their husbands. And this custom has just continued. So now when women change their last names, it is to symbolize commitment and also to make it more clear and evident that one family unit is a family unit because everyone's last name is the same. The reason why the SAFE Act is going to disproportionately affect married women is because it is going to mandate proof of U.S. citizenship in order to update your voter registration or register to vote. So that documentation needs to match what is the legal name of the person. So for women who change their last names after getting married, their name may not represent and match what is currently on, let's say, their birth certificate. So that is going to cause obstacles for them in order to vote. As usual, this is just another way to oppress women and also normalize that oppression. It is okay to feel exhausted and tired, but it is also important to be aware, stay awake, and open our eyes to everything that is going on right now.
They are attacking your right to vote. They are attacking your right to defend your own interests. It's this or 4B. I was told this isn't happening and that I'm fear-mongering. I was told that if this was really happening, then stories would be exploding all over the news. It's this or 4B. Then there's this. A 40-year-old man was previously convicted of rape and culpable homicide after a trial found his wife, a minor, died of injuries suffered during forced intercourse. When I said separatism is the only solution, I meant that. There is no world where we can continue on the current course and achieve liberation and self-determination. I won't argue. I won't try to find common ground. We don't have the time. I don't care how much you trust him. You need a separate bank account. I don't care how much you love him. You don't bring him to women's meetings. Download Signal and download Telegram. Consolidate your resources and stay tuned for part 2.
She is absolutely right. Any way you dice it, the SAVE Act, HR Bill 22, is not good for the greater good. It will deny voters. It will make it absolutely harder to prove that you are a citizen, and it is essentially trying to solve a problem that does not exist. So you can think I'm being dramatic. You can think I'm sponsored by the Democratic Party. I'm not. And this affects everyone. It's not even about parties. It's about women's rights, low-income families, people that don't have passports. There's so much wrong with this bill. So on paper, if you just say, yeah, it's not a big deal, you just have to prove that you're a citizen, that's false. The hoops that you'd have to jump through to do so, and for what? A couple of my followers have reached out to me, and I'm extremely grateful that they are inciting some change and really digging into this, doing their own research, and then using their voice, because that is the only way that we can stop this. It did pass in the House in 2024. It's up for a revote. It expired. That's the only reason why. Hannah, shout out, one of my followers, started a petition just yesterday. She sent it to me when it had 500 signatures. It already has 1,500 signatures. I'm going to link it in my caption. It's linked in my bio as well. It's extremely easy to sign this petition and spread it if you disagree with this bill. Also, my follower Bella sent me a page of her handwritten math on how this would affect women in particular. So I do want to share a figure that she produced for me. 27 million women who have changed their names in this country do not possess a passport. Now, if all those women got a brand new passport, which is $145, that breaks out to $3.95 billion. You have to ask yourself, why are we doing this? Why are we being required to show documentation that a lot of people in this country do not even possess anymore to validate their name change, if that's even possible? What is this all for? And that is the problem. We are taxed with the responsibility of trying to interpret these bills that our lawmakers are putting forth on our behalf when there's so much vague language and misinterpretation. Otherwise, you guys wouldn't be losing your shit in my comments. So that is the problem. You shouldn't have to have a law degree to interpret these. You have to have all the data, all the stats to really understand how this is going to affect us moving forward. And that's the point. We should be paying attention. We should be doing our own research and using our voice if we disagree.
So, ladies, we know that when anybody is oppressed, when they start shipping out immigrants, I'm not going to say illegal because I don't think people are illegal anywhere on the planet because this is planet Earth and it belongs to all of us. When they start doing that, when they start trying to take away rights from people that look like me, black people, trying to take us out, period, in any way possible, we know that women are usually down there with that group. I know a lot of women who don't look like me don't remember history, I guess, but these men are showing them that they want to be at the top. They don't want anybody to be equal with them. They have to take away rights and oppress every other group if they're going to stay in charge and at the top. So that's what they are working on. They have been working on this for decades, probably at least 50 years, and they are going to come with everything they have if somebody doesn't stop them. They are trying to put women back in the kitchen. This is part of their whole racial hierarchy where they have to get white women back in the homes and out of these jobs and out of school. They have to get these women to have their babies, and they have to get them to not be able to vote for anybody. They don't want them to vote for anybody that's black or male, a black male. They don't want them to vote for a female because they have to be at the top in a patriarchy. So this is what they're doing. Everybody is seeing it. Everybody knows that these are Yahtzees, and nobody wants to call them that. Everybody wants to just keep calling them MAGA. But yeah, it is what it is. We're going to speak the truth over here. If this video gets taken down or if y'all can't see it, I don't care. I'm praying that they won't. But yeah, ladies, this is just one more reason for you not to get married. It's so many laws that are going to affect women. They have the filial law that you're going to be financially in charge of your elderly parents. And if not, you can go to jail or be fined if you don't take care of your parents, because they're taking away so many benefits from everybody that they're not going to have any funds to like do it. So they're trying to make you do it. When you know this is going to be women, this is going to be on women, because men are not going to care or nurture anybody, let alone their parents. So that's going to be on women. They're trying to change the laws to where women cannot fly state to state or out of the country because they're trying to prevent their women from having abortions, from getting rid of their babies. Their numbers are dwindling, so they have to oppress white women to make them have more babies globally so they can continue to oppress everybody. What else are they doing? We already know that they rolled back Roe versus Wade because they don't want their women getting rid of their kids because they need to continue to dominate everybody in the world. What else did they do, y'all? Help me think about it. So many. They're coming for birth control next. They are coming for birth control. So if you do not want to have kids, even if you're not sexually active or you're in 4B, again, you need to get on the longest form of birth control, the safest kind that you can get, or you need to go get your tubes tied, or you need to go get something removed so you cannot have any more of these men's spawn. You need to arm yourselves, because the more rights they take away from us, the more vulnerable we are going to be. The more control they're going to have of us. So they're making it very dangerous to live in this world for women. It was already pretty dangerous, but they're making it even more dangerous for women and for people of color and for black people. I say people of color and black people because I don't consider us to be the same. So yeah, ladies, do what you have to do. Share these videos, because you're going to see a lot of people in the comments saying this is not true, they can't do that. But go ahead and read it yourself. They can do it. They have done it before. I hate when people say that they can't do it, because it's been done before. If they get enough people who are willing to go back 60 to 100 years and not fight them, they are going to be able to do it. That's why he's firing people left and right. He's trying to get his people in there, and that is going to be the way that he will be able to do all of this stuff if we don't all come together and stop him. You know, a lot of people still feel like he's doing a good job, and that is not going to affect them. But I really want women to show these men that we have more power than them, because we birthed them. We bring them into existence. So women, whatever you can do right now to stop birthing them, I would say for the next decade, talk to your young girls, get your young girls on long-term birth control, start experimenting with it now to make sure they're not having any adverse effects, and just do what you have to do. Girls as young as 13 and 14, we need to strategize as women. We really need to come up with a strategy and try to stop these men from doing it, because it's always men. All throughout history, anything that goes wrong or bad or to the left is always the work of men. And I'm going to say, I would like to say white men, but I think it's just men globally. White men right now are the ones who have global power, but men globally are the ones who are pretty much just destroying the planet and everything around them. And they're trying to bring everybody down with them. So women, I just hope that y'all will be on the right side of history, no matter what race you are. I don't care what race you are. Just be on the right side of history. If not, we'll see you on the other side of wherever we're going. The world is already on fire. So y'all get down in the comments and let us know, what else do you know about this this bill that they're trying to pass, the SAVE Act. If anybody has something that wasn't in this video, get down in the comments and let us know. And if you have any suggestions for the ladies of what we can do to prepare for everything that this government is about to do to us, get down in the comments and let us know. And I will talk to you ladies later. Bye.